Hello, and welcome back to In Case of Emergency. We're, I guess, doing a Murdar the Mystery. Kinda neat. Wes is having a great time. I'm curious where this goes, so I'm excited to begin reading. You shake your head to clear your thoughts. You need to focus. Don't you feel a bit sad that your dad might be dying? It is a little bit suspicious. Is there an inheritance if he dies? If you think I'm getting anything, think again. Electra's his favorite. Electra? My sister. She was supposed to leave today to get married, but, well, you know. Father's dying. She's upstairs if you want to talk to her. He glanced down at the paper in his hand again, then looks up, like he's surprised to see you still there. Thanks. We'll go talk to her now, if that's okay. Upstairs, the king has been moved to a guest room to rest. It might not be a proper bedroom, but the place is extravagant nevertheless. Thick blue drapes, I see, hang from a window overlooking the courtyard. Opposite it is a beautiful armoire of polished wood that looks expensive. A young woman sits at the edge of the extravagant king-sized bed, dabbing lit at Lord Basquia's forehead with a damp towel. His eyes are closed, and his shoulders shudders infrequently in his unconscious state. Oh, here, that looks a little loud in the levels. Let me turn that down just a little bit. She notices you enter, and her eyes widen. Cedric, it's good to see you again. You too. I heard you're getting married. Electra sighs, like there's no good way to answer the question. Yes, an arranged marriage. I was supposed to leave today, but the roads are closed. And Allie? She's fine. Electra nods towards the blade hanging from her wrist, waist, clearly eager to change the subject. I'm glad to see you make use of our gift. Cedric nods. He looks almost as exhausted as the Lord. Of course! We'd like to help your father any way we can. I don't know what happened. He had dinner with the remorants last night. If anyone wanted to see him gone... Did anything out of the ordinary happen last night? Why were you having dinner? It was a farewell party to send me off. Maybe they were trying to strike while I was gone. But you weren't leaving until the morning. If anything, your father's death prevented you from leaving. Who would benefit from you staying? The remorants, maybe. Sky isn't ready to take over the business, and if I wasn't married yet, we wouldn't have an alliance we could lean on. So, a poison in the dining room by the remnants. Case closed. Why hasn't anyone been arrested? Electra's lips pull together like a tight line. There's no evidence, which doesn't mean that they haven't done it. So, what we need are clues. I have to check out their place. Well, there he goes. Luke promptly marches out the door like a man on a mission, Wes close on his tail. Wait! Cedric sighs. They've already left. He hovers by the foot of the bed, watching the weak rise and fall of the Lord Basquia's form. He cocks his head as he seems to study something on the Lord's hand. Hey, what happened to your father's ring? Electra glances over to where Cedric is looking. She shrugs. I don't know. Maybe he took it off while he went to bed. Cedric frowns. Maybe it was stolen by whomever did this. Cedric rubs his chin in thought, then starts to head for the door, motioning for you to follow. Thanks for your time, Electra. We'll find out who did this to your father. Yeah, we'll be right back. On your way to your destination, you fall in line with Wes, behind the others. Did you know that guy?
Hmm?
That guy at the Bosca's house. He didn't seem to like you.
Oh, yeah. I've talked to him a couple times before. I haven't seen him in over a year. I'm surprised he still remembers me.
His voice is nonchalant, but he rubs the ring around his finger as he talks. Oh? Oh, okay. You figure it doesn't... Oh, I thought that meant like a... Here, maybe... Yeah, how do you know him? How'd you two meet?
I met a lot of people while traveling around here. It's no big deal.
You figured he doesn't want to talk about it. Okay. Wes shrugs and raises an eyebrow at you.
Don't worry. It wasn't anything serious. He's got nothing on you.
He better not, yeah. I sure hope not. You feel warmth raise in your cheeks. Wes laughs.
You're cute when you're flustered.
He squeezes your arm and strides ahead to meet the group, his longer legs easily outpacing you. There's that funny feeling again, that swimming sensation in your gut whenever he teases you. You've gathered that Wes is pretty casual about his relationships, but you can't quite place where you fit in all of this. Are you going to be not anything serious? Did Sky think there was something more? The butterflies in your stomach flutter anxiously. The three of you walk down the cobbled road towards the home of the Remorants. Cedric. Still don't know. Taking the lead. At the end of the long road lined by cypress trees. That's probably how that's pronounced. That's definitely how that's pronounced. You finally arrive at the Remorant mansion, where Lady Remorant invites you all in for tea. As you enter, Cedric hangs back to whisper to you.
Don't drink any of it.
Wink. You wink at him in reassurance. You've got this. Instead, Lady Remorant sits at the table and gestures for you to make yourself at home. It's terrible what happened to Lord Baskia. I can't imagine how distraught the family must be. She pats under her eyes with a handkerchief, though there's no tears.
Uh-huh. Everyone must have been shocked by the news. Is your family doing all right? I know you were close.
Lady Remorant sighs loudly. Oh, I imagine it's much harder for the Baskians and their children. Poor Sky. He's too inexperienced to run the entire business on his own. Yes, poor Sky indeed. Right, and I heard your family also runs a business. Lady Remorant sniffs in disdain. We've hit a hard spot this season, yes, but we all have, what with the river diminished as it is. Nothing we cannot bounce back from, once that godforsaken void is driven back.
It will be.
Cedric reassures her, sounding determined. That is the thing. So your business isn't doing very well. Lady Remorant looks the two of you up and down. You're supposed to be the ones grilling her for answers, but her gaze makes you feel like you're the ones being questioned. Eventually, she simply sighs and dabs at her dry eyes. I can assure you, boys, our family had nothing to do with the Lord Baskian's illness. No matter how bad it got, our family would never be so desperate as to stoop to assassination. Thank you very much. Lying? Yes. Destroying someone socially? Certainly. But doing something illegal? Like murder or thievery? Well, actually, stealing anything from the Baskians would be a terrible idea. No fence would ever buy it. Everything they own of their family crest emblazoned ever so gaudily on it. Did you know Lord Baskia wore the most detestable ring on his finger all the time? Cedric nods for you meaningfully. It was obscene. Now, if anything were criminal, it would be his crime against fashion. Lady Remirant fans herself as she remembers an entire slew of apparently offensive outfits. At any rate, allow me to make your job easier by assuring you that House Remirant had nothing to do with this. We'd be the prime suspect, first of all, and I simply don't have the constitution for murder. It would be utterly foolish to make a move against the Boskians. She looks at you pointedly, and she's no fool. She seems to be saying, if I can offer any advice, it's that I'm not so certain this was foul play. We all know Boskin's drinking habits would get to him eventually. He was perfectly fine when we saw him last night for our monthly dinner. Dinner last night? I heard he went over dinner that night, before Lord Boskia was found unconscious. Indeed, I have nothing to hide. It was an ordinary dinner like any other. His drinking habits? Oh, yes, he drank like every meal, and then some. You think you just had too much wine? It's certainly possible. After all this time, maybe his body finally gave out. Were you close? Were your families close? She laughs politely. Don't let the rumors fool you. Our families may operate rival merchant companies, yes, but we never harbored ill will towards each other. I thought him absolutely mad at times, but he was a shrewd businessman through and through. The Lord had a habit of drinking hemlock wine, you see. Whenever he had guests over, he believed it proved his bloodline's superior constitution. And he drank that wine last night? Yes, I always believed he was bluffing. That's what our dear Alizurn told us. Anyway, she was closest to the family out of all of us. Well, perhaps he was serious that night, or perhaps his hubris finally caught up with him. She blinks her eyes widely, trying to give the appearance of holding back tears. She might be faking her sorrow, but she has no reason to think that she's lying yet. But you have no reason. Thank you for your time, Lady Remirant. You're giving us some new leads. She stands to take your leave. You stand to take your leave. And by the way, do you guys have a library or anything I can look for rare books? Wes grabs him by the scruff and drags him out, and the four of you decide you have some more questions for the Boskia family. As you make your way to the Boskia home, you can't help but wonder aloud. If Lord Boskia really did drink hemlock wine regularly, is it possible that he just got unlucky that night?
It sounds familiar. I think he might have had some when I was over.
How do you know the Boskians?
Wes and I came down here a couple years ago. We helped out the family by cleaning out their crypt, and they invited us to dinner.
You're a little jealous. You wouldn't mind running errands in the city without an ominous countdown to the apocalypse hanging over your head. Just another thing, you've arrived a little too late. In the foyer, Sky is still pacing along the rug. What am I looking at? Yes, rubbing its fibers thin against the marble. He monologues to a ficus in a clay pot. I did not know my father very well. No, I couldn't say that. He looks up from scratching something on the paper. Ah, I assume you're back with the culprit. Lady Remirant told us that your dad drank hemlock wine that evening. Sky sighs, pausing his pacing. My father drank hemlock wine nearly every night. He believes his Boskian blood would make him immune. Whatever that means. You couldn't pay me to drink that poison. Why didn't you mention this? Why didn't you mention this to us earlier? Like I said, he drank this nearly every night, and he's fine. He has exactly 1 glass a night. If I thought it was important, I would have mentioned it. Was there anything different that night? He didn't do anything different that night. Lady Remerance said that she thought your father was bluffing. Maybe he swapped his drink with real hemlock. Maybe someone gave him real hemlock that night instead of the fake stuff. Sky narrows his eyes. Are you calling my father a liar? We would never. Do you still, have any of that wine lying around? No, we threw it out after serving it. Can we look in your kitchen? Can we check your kitchen? Maybe there's something else that poisoned him. Sky crosses his arms and puffs out his chest, trying to look as imposing as possible. He takes a step forward, towards the doorway, leading to the eastern wing of the house. Absolutely not! I forbid it! I won't be a suspect in my own house! Of course not. We believe you. We're trying to clear the air so no one gets the wrong idea. Right now, you're full of wrong ideas, one of which involves breaking and entering. I just remember that I was supposed to check in with Remus an hour ago. I have to go. I'll go with you. Nosy? No. I mean, it's okay. You guys stay here and clear the air. No one needs to be going to the kitchen. I'll be right back. You dart out the front door before anyone can stop you. Once you're sure you're out of earshot, you round the corner of the house to its eastern face. You have to step on the very tips of your toes to get a good look in the window of the house. You can make out the fuzzy outline of the back of Sky's head. Next window, you creep over to the next window, placing your hands on the windowsill and pulling yourself up to peer inside. Pots, plants, and dried herbs dangle from the walls. Jackpot. There you are. Okay. You nearly fall from your perch in alarm. What are you doing here? Don't worry. The others are keeping him busy. Let me give you a boost. You wonder if he's just trying to avoid Sky again, but then he gets on his knees and intertwines his fingers. Okay, waiting for you to get on. He buttresses your feet? Is that how that... Okay. With his hands as he pushes you up to the window latch. In your surprise, your tail smacks his face. Sorry. It's okay. A price I pay for the view. Your face burns as you fumble for the switch holding the window closed. It pops open with some fiddling, and you swing the window open. Give me a boost. Wes lifts you inside, and you scramble onto the kitchen counter and softly drop to the floor, nearly face planting in the process. Oh, Wes follows behind you, and for a moment you worry he'll be too big, but then his body seems to squeeze smaller to accommodate for the narrow gap, and he pops out unharmed. With his hand resting on the windowsill, he smoothly and silently slides himself to the floor in a single fluid motion. Damn. Oh, that's not him. Damn. Wes whispers to you. Look for the wine. You don't need to be told twice. The two of you quietly search the kitchen, lifting cutting boards and moving aside crates of vegetables. At one point, you stub your toe and something hard on something hard in metal, and you yelp in surprise. You hear a raised voice from the foyer, and both you and Wes hold your breath as you dive behind a stack of crates. A moment passes, then another. You hear the other voices calming Sky down, and no one comes. You breathe a sigh of relief. Looking down at the floor, you see that you stub your toe on the trap door. You nudge Wes. There's the cellar. That's gotta be it. Wes nods silently and reaches for the handle, pulling it open slowly. Its iron hinges creak ominously. Wes slides into the cellar behind you. There's barely any light coming in through the cracks of the closed trapdoor. Okay, I will end the part here, everyone, so I will see you around.